Things are getting plumb wild out there in the weather world. It's about to be a very busy week, and I'm here to try to make it all make sense to you. This is what the satellite looks like as I'm recording this video. We've got some showers and thunderstorms moving through Florida. This is our next big troublemaker, okay? This is what we're going to be talking about a lot today, but I want you to pay attention to these clouds down here, okay? See how they're racing across the Pacific, getting ready to go over the Baja Peninsula. All of that moisture is working up towards Mexico and the southwestern United States. Eventually, that's going to pour over into the plains, but I want you to notice something else. Look at these clouds from the north also coming down in the same area. Whenever we see that kind of mixing, whenever we see those two air masses pointing towards each other, it usually means a very active or at least a very interesting period of weather for the areas downstream, okay? So that's what's going on. The main driving mechanism for all the crazy weather we're about to experience is the below average temperatures in the west and the very much above average temperatures in the east. We've got this trough and ridge pattern. We're going to be, just absolutely blazing hot in Texas and Florida over the next 10 days or so. And remember, where those two air masses meet, that's where we are mostly concerned about the very real potential for severe weather. We're going to have a lot of different opportunities right here in this channel. A pretty good way to quantify this is by looking at the total expected rainfall over the next week or so. This is through Sunday, May 26th. You can see that we've got two big hot spots, one up here towards the north and then another one down here towards the mid-Mississippi River Valley, back towards the Red River Valley. This is where we're going to see a lot of storms over the next little bit, and we're also going to see storms in the middle. Don't get me wrong. In fact, some of our strongest storms might occur in the middle here. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but you can see where all the stormy weather is going to be most concentrated over the next week. Starting today, we've got a moderate risk, a 4 out of 5 severe weather risk for Dodge City and Wichita. Slight risk goes all the way up to close to Aberdeen and a little bit of southern portions of North Dakota. This is mostly driven by a wind threat, okay? So most of our moderate risks this year have been tornado driven. This one is 80 mile per hour wind gusts, maybe even higher. We might even see a derecho today. It's obviously, we don't know that. We won't know until after the storm's over, but that's kind of what we're watching for in Dodge City, Topeka, and Wichita today, as a really strong line of storms is going to come through the hatched region here, and we do expect to see some intense damaging winds. The tornado threat is not the main driving factor behind today's severe weather risk, but it's also not zero. We do have a 5% probability of seeing a tornado or two in Topeka, Wichita, and Dodge City as well. I just don't think that the tornado threat's going to be the main thing today. With that being said, let's take a look at the radar and what it could look like as the day progresses. Here we are about 4 or 5 p.m. We're going to start to see storms fire up in the front range of Colorado over towards the panhandle of Oklahoma, western Kansas, up here into Nebraska and South Dakota as well. When these things first pop up, hail and winds are going to be a problem, but the big time damaging winds won't become a larger problem until we get a little bit more organization. You can see that we have a full-fledged MCS or mesoscale convective system expected here in Kansas by around 7 or 8 p.m. this evening. We're also going to have some scattered severe thunderstorms down here in the southeast as well. Look out down there near Savannah, Georgia, down towards pretty much the entire peninsula of Florida. But once again, around 8 p.m., we're going to be watching this MCS potentially cause damaging winds here as it moves through Kansas. Now, the HRRR model is continuing to try to paint a supercell or maybe another multi-cellular cluster down here to the south of that main line. If this is the case, then we might have a little bit more of a tornado threat down here in Oklahoma. But right now, most of the models and most of the guidance is just expecting to see this big Boeing segment of strong storms up here in Kansas between 9 and 10 p.m. this evening. That's when some of the strongest winds are going to be expected. We are expecting some strong storms up here farther to the north as well, as far north as Canada, okay? A lot of Minnesota down here into South Dakota and Nebraska. You guys are going to get in on some of these strong storms, but they're not going to be nearly as intense as what we're seeing down here farther to the south. Now, I think that once we lose that daytime heating, and especially as we go towards 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the early morning hours tomorrow, the severe weather threat is going to die down a little bit. But as you can see here, as predicted by the Storm Prediction Center, it's going to ramp right back up as we go into the heating of the day on Monday, where we have another slight risk of severe weather here. Notice how those original storms kind of fizzle out and their outflow boundaries give way to new storms as we go into the afternoon and evening hours on Monday. A little bit more of a discrete kind of pop-up cellular kind of system on Monday. That might mean that there's a little bit more of a tornado threat here. However, the ingredients for tornado genesis aren't going to be very ample, I guess I should say. So I'm not seeing a huge tornado outbreak with this. However, However, the fact that we are seeing some more isolated convection, maybe it's a sign that we should watch it a little bit more closely. But this is also going to organize into a big time MCS or cluster of storms that'll probably mostly be a damaging wind producer as we get into the early morning hours on Tuesday. And by Georgie's, it doesn't even stop there. I want you to look at this. This little divot right here on our 500 millibar map, that's what's causing all of our problems with our potential derecho and all that stuff today and tomorrow. That little dip, all right, as inconspicuous as a little blip, never underestimate a dip. We've got ourselves a much bigger dip coming in on Tuesday, okay? So this more substantial trough here is going to bring in some of that cold air from Canada and allow for a lot of lift from, the Gulf of Mexico, and it's also going to combine that Pacific stream in this mixture, and this is when we're really going to start to see our big-time severe weather threats start to actualize. Tuesday, we're going to see all these ingredients come together. We're going to have a much larger dip in the jet stream here. I do expect a severe weather outbreak of potentially epic proportions on Tuesday. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a tornado outbreak or a, another derecho kind of thing. It's too early to talk about that right now, but I am very confident that given climatology, okay, it's May 21st. Whenever we see a big trough like this on May 21st and there's not anything blocking the southern flow from the Gulf of Mexico, this is going to be a pretty big time severe weather event. So we're watching it closely. So is the Storm Prediction Center. Already got that day 3 enhanced risk here for La Crosse down through Des Moines, Kansas City, Topeka once again. Unfortunately, it's going to be impacting a lot of people that have been impacted already by severe weather this year and probably are done with it. If there's a day that we're going to go live on this channel, this is going to be it, I think. On Tuesday, we are going to have quite a bit of CAPE, convective available potential energy. Maybe, as far north as into Nebraska and Iowa, maybe over 3,000 joules per kilogram, and we're going to see that kind of getting eaten up really quickly as that line of storms does eventually form. But you can see here that we're just going to have a recurring pattern where very unstable air masses are going to be able to form here in the Midwest down into the south central U.S. And if we continue to watch our trough patterns, look, there's another dip that comes through on Wednesday, May 22nd. Another dip. Like, this is a pattern, this southwest to northeast pattern where we have a separation between cool air and warm air in May is just kind of the perfect setup for severe weather. So like, as long as that continues to be the case, we're going to have a lot of chances of severe weather. And it looks like that's going to continue to be the case all the way through maybe the end of May. So we might get a little bit of a break right around the beginning of June, it seems. But right now we are locked in, son, all the way through May 28th at least. Storm Prediction Center already highlighting a huge area under a slight risk of severe weather on Wednesday, May 22nd. This is from Detroit and Cleveland, Ohio, back towards Dallas and Waco. And then a rare day 5 slight risk in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. So you guys, once again, are going to get tired of seeing my face, I think, over the next week or so. All right, that's all the weather talk I have for you today. Once again, I don't think that I'm going to be going live for today's wind threat. However, there is a chance that I go live tomorrow. There's a chance that I go live on Tuesday, especially. There's a chance I go live Wednesday and Thursday as well. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications on. And also, please subscribe to the Y'all Squad, our channel over here. We're about to hit 35,000 subscribers. Just search the Y'all Squad on YouTube. We've got a new video that we just did on the tornado outbreak that occurred in Nebraska, Iowa, and Oklahoma on April 26th and April 27th. We've spent well over $100,000 at this point helping people that have been impacted by severe weather, and we're still on the ground doing work right now. We've got another update video coming for you at the end of May. If anybody has, contributed at all, you can see how that money is doing work here through these videos. Once again, a tornado destroyed her house while she was inside. That's the latest one there about our significant tornado outbreak that occurred last month. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.